Hello, this is Heather Butts with installment number 3 of the college preparation and application process. So today we're going to talk about the college essay, and this is a very exciting couple of days here because the Common Application was just released on August 1st. Now, the Common Application essay prompts have been around for a couple of months, so they've been available for individuals, but the actual Common Application was released August 1st. And so if you go to the Common Application website, if you have trouble finding it, just email me at hmbutts@aol.com or heather.butts@learnforlifeconsulting.com. But you should fairly easily be able to Google it and get on there. You'll be actually able to see the entire Common Application app. Today we're going to talk about a college essay. So, what do we want to talk about with just a college essay? So first, you want to distinguish between short answers, direct questions, and general essay personal statements. Now remember, for a lot of you, a lot of this is going to surround the Common Application. But you've got to remember something very important. Although the Common Application has one essay that you're going to pick, so there'll be one essay prompt, there's over 500 schools that are now using the Common Application, and the vast majority of them have some sort of supplemental application. So don't think that you're done with just your one Common Application essay. You've got to look at those supplemental applications and see what else you need to do, okay? And some of those applications, as we're going to talk about, may have short answers. They may have direct questions. They may have personal statements. These are all things you're going to have to do in addition to the Common Application essay prompt. All right, so in addition to what we just talked about, you want to make sure that you give the schools what they want. Don't give them too much. Don't give them too little. Give them what they ask for. Sometimes I get students who say, oh, well, you know, the school asked for a supplemental essay that was 100 words, but I know that what they really want is a 300-word essay. No, they don't want a 300-word essay. They want a 100-word essay. That's what they asked for. That's what you should give them. So give the schools what they want. Think about what you want to write about. I spend the most time dealing with students around this, thinking about what they want to write about, how they want to write about things, what it's going to look like. You really want to do this. And I often suggest to students that they carry around essentially a diary or a little notepad. And as things happen in their lives and things come up, you know, you just start jotting them down. And eventually you'll find that you have a notepad that's full of little anecdotes and little stories, and from that you can create your essay. Do you have a resume? This is critical. So if you are a sophomore or higher on this call, there's not even a discussion. You should absolutely have a resume. If you're in 8th or 9th grade, I highly recommend that you start a resume. But certainly by the time you're a senior, you should absolutely have a resume. All right, so, excuse me. You should absolutely have a resume. And hopefully you have a resume that's seasoned enough so that you take fresh looks at it. What have you accomplished? What have you done? Resume is going to be a really great way to figure out what to write your essay or essays about. What makes you unique or different, right? And sometimes that's hard for you to identify. So, I always suggest that you talk with family, talk with friends, talk with others about what makes you unique or different. And I guarantee that the people around you are going to have a very different take on what makes you unique or different than the take that you have on what makes you unique or different. Do you have a favorite book or a favorite movie? Oftentimes the supplemental applications will ask questions, and even the Common Application will have questions that revolve around a favorite book, a favorite movie, you know, something that has some sort of particular importance in your life. So start thinking about that now. What's your favorite book? What's your favorite movie? What's your, favorite poem? These may be food for thought in terms of your essays. A trying time in your life that you've overcome. So this is a little thorny and a little sensitive because there may be a trying time in your life that you may not want to talk about. Oftentimes, though, this is sort of sort of a target-rich environment for an essay. So, if you've had an illness, if you've had, some sort of difficulty, we've all heard those stories about the kid that got into Harvard who was homeless. How do we know about that? It doesn't come from the application necessarily. So, you want to think about a trying time you've overcome, but something that you've worked through enough so that you can actually talk about it. Substantial extracurricular activities, just goes without saying. If you're the captain of the swim team, the co-captain of the baseball team, if you founded, a anti-bullying program. These are all things you're going to definitely want to talk about. Someone has a great deal of meaning for you, has been very influential. Again, goes without saying. And, discussing, why you want to go to a particular school. That's always a great topic to talk about. Absolutely. You're stuck. You need more help deciding what to write about. Like I said, friends, teachers, family members, trusted mentors. Keep thinking. Now, the important thing about this is you got to start early enough to be able to keep thinking. If you're trying to decide an essay topic December 29th and your application is due December 31st, you got a little bit of a time crunch. So ideally, you started this process. I like to tell students start a year in advance, but 6 months in advance, whatever. Just thinking about topics. And oftentimes students will say to me, but wait a minute, the topics still aren't even released till sometimes 2 months in advance, 3 months in advance, 5 months in advance. But you know what? If you start thinking about important things that have happened to you, trying times, diversity issues, uniqueness issues, those are going to be rich for discussion in terms of your essay, and you can never go wrong with those. And, you'll be able to figure out a topic that you can tweak slightly that goes with those. I would not wait till, 2 months before to start thinking about your essay. Absolutely not. Start thinking about it a year before, and just start writing down topics that you think would be good essay material. I guarantee you that the essay question, you'll be able to match it up with that. Start early. What were we just talking about? Write your first draft, continue to write drafts. You may have to write 6, 7, 8, 9 drafts. You're definitely going to have to write more than one draft before you can finalize your essay. One draft is not going to cut it. Have someone else read it to make sure it conveys what you want it to convey. You don't want any typos, no grammatical errors. And that's why you want to do 5, 6, 7 drafts. Read it once before you're considering a final, and then you finalize it. So once more, right? So you've read it 6, 7, 8, 9 times. You're going to read it again, and then you're going to finalize it. You may have your mom read it again, or your dad read it again, and then you finalize it. Takeaways. Make your essay consistent with the rest of your application. Nothing is worse, and I use this example a lot, nothing is worse than, the student says, I have a 24 on the SATs and a 4.0 average, and I've struggled in school for all 4 years. That's not consistent, right? Conversely, I'm the best student ever, I'm a superstar, but I have a 1.9 average, and, I'm 1,100 SATs. Not consistent. You want to make sure you're consistent, which is the bigger issue is don't lie. Don't make things up. Don't embellish. Some students say, I'm going to jazz it up, embellish it a little bit. No, you don't want to do any of that. Because remember, you have people who are going to be writing you recommendations, and you really don't know what those recommendations are going to say. But more important than that is a golden rule, You want to make sure that you're honest, you're truthful, because if you're not, it will come back to haunt you. You can use your essay to explain certain parts of your application. It's a great way to explain gaps, loopholes, changing multiple schools. A lot of times students think, I have 24 on SATs and I'm an A student, and I think I'll write an essay about what a superstar I am. We already know you're a superstar. You don't need to embellish on that. But if there's something interesting in your background that's not in your application or you haven't talked about, now that's what you can use your essay for. But just talking more about what a superstar you are, it's not really going to help your application any. Diversity is great. discuss this if it applies to you, and really diversity applies to everybody. Everybody is diverse and unique in their own way. And I think sometimes we get caught up thinking, there's certain categories for diversity. Not true. Everybody's unique and diverse in their own way. You just have to figure out what that is for you. Remember, the essay topic says a lot about who you are and what you care about, so choose it wisely. So again, make sure you're choosing a topic that, makes sense, that works for you. Pitfalls to avoid. Don't try to be tricky. The essay should tell the reader something about, the rest of the application. Don't go over the word limit. Don't make up stories. Honesty is the best policy. Okay, so for those of you on the call, anybody who does these assignments, I will give you a 1-hour review with me. So if you're on the call right now, we're going to go over this. Write a 200-word essay on the following topic. Tell us about the neighborhood that you grew up in and how it helped shape you into the kind of person you are today. And come up with a 300-word answer to the following essay questions. Write about a local or national issue that has personal meaning for you. Select 2 people that have been role models in your life and why. Select the technological innovation of this century and describe its impact on you and your family. Anybody that does these, I will not only go over all of them, but then I will take an hour to discuss not only these essays with you, but essays generally. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. And when we do the next one, I'm going to have some questions that students asked about the essay, and we're going to talk about the college visit, and then part 5 will be a wrap-up. So thank you very much. Thanks for listening.